for being here, is like taking that step to making it a point to learn more about what you can do to help grow this organization is like a really great step. So congratulations to getting to this point and creating this space for learning and being engaged with each other. And I want to make so that is here. So that's I guess the consultant and one of the speakers for today. So I met her when I was working in Syracuse, and so she was the one who invited me to come speak today. So shout her out and say thank you. And to Mr. Frazier, also thank you for inviting me to be part of this. Like Marianne said, like his vision and his mission for this community is really infectious, right? Like every time I had a chance to talk to him, I really felt like, all right, I'm ready to come and join heaven, like and come in and do something. But it was just a really like infectious and magnetic energy. So thank you so much for that. Let's see. So I guess I just want to kind of share my story a little bit, not for too long, but I think it's always important to talk about your past experiences, what you bring to organizations like this, because that's how you draw other people in and make sure that you can see what the commonalities are, right, and what we have in common, but also where can we build that in terms of our past experiences. So, as Marianne mentioned, from Jersey City, born and raised in Jersey City, went to parochial school out there. My mom didn't go to all-girls school, and so went to all-girls school, one of 4 girls too. And my parents are both from Haiti, so they were born in Haiti, moved to Brooklyn, and then moved to Jersey City. My name used to be like a quarter to go from the back, from Jersey City to Manhattan. So they were like, "Oh, this will be cheap. This is not so much anymore." But yeah, so one of 4 girls. My parents super strict Caribbean people, kept us inside, and that was that. And my mom is a teacher. She actually teaches at Jersey City Community Charter School, and so that whole like the importance of engagement, like parent engagement and education, was just very instilled in me from very young age.
Those schools do really, really well.
Which was
Yeah. I used to do the advertising for the charter school, Success Charter School in the Bronx, and the scores from those kids are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The charter school, I went to and it's sad to see it's not like as common anymore. A lot of the schools that were in Jersey City have closing down just because of competition and other schools and that. But I did have a good education there. I went off to school in upstate New York for college and grad school, and then moved to the DC area.
Which school did you go to in upstate New York?
So I went to Syracuse for undergrad.
Yeah, my husband's father went to Syracuse.
Okay.
Yeah. And I went to his master's from Puget Sound in Seattle. So.
Okay. Yeah, and then went to Cornell for grad school.
So you know what it's like when it snows.
Yeah, that weather, that's how I quickly left. But the other thing is I wanted to share is that I am a mom of 2. I have an 11-year-old and a almost 2-year-old. I mean, he thinks he's going to be 11, but he's going to be 2 next month. And so what really brought me to wanting to come and talk today, I have my 11-year-old. He's on the autism spectrum. He was diagnosed autistic when he was 5, which is a conversation we can have because that was kind of late to get that diagnosis. But conversation for another time. But
I have a 29-year-old with autism, so you and I can share.
Yeah, so he, but it's been challenging, right? When you have a child on the autism spectrum, and having a Black boy on the autism spectrum too, and wanting to make sure that the people who are there to support him are actually doing it, right? And so we just did the transition for him to go to middle school, and that was tough, right? Because they wanted to put him in one program. I was like, no, I want him in this program, and it was a little bit of a fight, but we were able to get it. And you should just see the difference already. Like people who see him now are just like, he looks so much happier. He's just less burdened because he's been sitting in a class where because he doesn't have behavioral issues, they just let him just sit there. He was actually learning, right? But now I'm like, no, this is what I want for him. we can take them off of the moment, right?
Yeah, we've got stories.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Everyone has those stories, but especially, I mean, and it doesn't have to just be the like kids with special needs. It's all of our kids, right? But it is that added layer when you add special needs to it. And so, very drawn to this organization because I feel like I've been advocating for my child and for and for his friends too, because his friends who don't have the resources, right? Like letting their parents know, like, hey, you can ask for this, you should ask for that. Here's a program that you should get into. Here's the school. And so we just all went through this together without a formal community, but we were able to do it just engaging with each other and able to get a few of our kids into a certain program and a certain school. And so yeah. So in any case, that's my story. And I encourage anytime you all are talking, I'm sure you guys have this, whenever you're talking to other parents, to share your story too, right? That's how you bring in people in. So why I'm here today. I've been working with this company called PEPNJ. I actually just left PEPNJ at the beginning of this month. I'll start with a new company next month, but all in the realm of technology and digital and working with campaigns and also organizations like this, right? So at PEPNJ, I saw it a hundred times where an organization is just starting out and they're like, we need to fundraise more, we need to expand our supporters and outreach, and we want to be able to know what's going on within our community in terms of policies and advocating to those grassroots people, those government officials. How do we do all of that? And being able to see people like organizations do that. And campaigns too. When campaigns first get started, they are just like, hey, I don't know anyone yet. I haven't talked to anyone. I need to grow all of that. What can I do? So you have like an AOC, right, in New York. When she first ran for Congress, she was running, she didn't know anybody, but she was able to build that lesson, build that momentum. And now she's a sitting member of Congress. And so you see that all the time. Lauren Underwood, who's a member of Congress, like one of the youngest African American members of Congress. I think she became a member at age 29. She's outside of the Chicago area. And it's the same thing, just using technology to do that.
So the Barack Obama campaign
Yeah, actually,
is
that was
a perfect example of that.
That was my first campaign, actually. That was,
Congratulations. It was extremely well done.
Yeah.
As a marketing person, I'm telling you, it's extremely smart.
Oh, yeah. And the technology that we use to reach out to voters is the technology.
It was the reason why Hillary Clinton was.
I wouldn't do
But seriously, the way that campaign was structured, because we studied it, the way that campaign was structured and how it used social media and how it used the digital aspect of media,
right.
and how people were doing it, they were able to mine it, and that's why he was.
Yeah, there were a lot of things.
Yeah, that was one of them.
Right. But yeah, so I mean, working with these organizations to scale, like I think that's that's why I'm here to talk to you. Now, that's not to say you aren't doing anything, but I just want to imagine, what's possible. What are the possibilities? So I was trying to figure out the best way to kind of like think through and how to like convey that message. And so I want you to bear with me. All right, so let's imagine any Game of Thrones fans. Okay. All right. So like or any kind of medieval show. You ever seen like the cities, right? There's a city is fully functioning, right? And then around it is like a wall protecting it from like the dragons, whatever, the unknown, right? Inside the city, things are fully functioning. Everything is going on. So I want you to imagine that Pep is that city, right? You're in that city, we're doing everything well, everything is going well, we're reaching out to people, we're talking to people, we're having things like this right now. But there's been like beyond the walls, you don't know what's going on, right? You don't know who's out there, you don't know who we're not talking to, you don't know what money we're leaving behind beyond the walls, you don't know what elected officials, policy-wise, they're doing that's going to impact us. We don't know any of that. So think beyond the wall, right? Now we can stay inside the city and everything stays status quo. We're going to just operate like this. But wouldn't you want to imagine like what happens if you go outside the wall? I know it's going to be a little uncomfortable, right? It might be a little uncomfortable. It might be a little like, okay, what are we going to do out there? and they do exist, right? There are plenty of online forms, like your Venmo or your Cash App and all of that to make funds, right? But those are for like me sending you money for brunch, right? That's what that's for. But when you as an organization like this, you want a form that's going to convert more people into actually donating to the organization. And to be able to do that, you have to find those types of forms that are mobile friendly, right? Everyone has their phone. No one wants something that they have to then go on their laptop and then fill out. You also want the form that's already going to be pre-filled, right? The conversion rate when someone gets on a form and they don't have to put in their name, their address, their phone number, all of that. If you get to a form that has all that information, the conversion rate is like 5 people, because people are going to do it and just say like, hey, here's that. So an online form that would say, you know what, you donated $5 today. How about you donate $10 to triple, to increase the amount of money? And those forms exist. There's forms called ActBlue. Anyone familiar with ActBlue? So ActBlue is one of the leading donation forms for campaigns and organizations like this. Because so many people have donated through ActBlue, when I'm on ActBlue, even if I've never donated to PEP, but if PEP has an ActBlue page, my information is going to be pre-filled already.
It's ACT.
Yeah.
ACT.
ACT. Yeah. So because I've donated to the Barack Obama campaign, the Hillary campaign, I've donated to whatever organization, these forms are already going to be pre-filled with my information, and I'm more likely to just donate. Sometimes these Apple might already have my credit card, so I don't even have to put that in there. But it's those types of things that if you think beyond the wall, right, and start thinking about to you, okay, what's the easiest way to get the money? Is okay, Venmo or Cash App. Then Apple will then make sure that you will get all of that information, will get that person to donate, and also you will save that information for next time when you want to have people, right? So definitely check out Apple. Then the other thing is, what if you want to reach out to the parents, right? That's the main thing. You want to reach out to the parents, and we're still in the city, right? We're still in the little city in the law, and we're only engaging with the parents we know. But there's so many other parents who are not aware that the organization exists, what your organization does, and there has to be a way to communicate with them. And so, and being to meet them where they are, right? And so there's platforms for that too. So one of the platforms that NGP started working with while I was there called Mobilize. Mobilize is an amazing thing. I actually showed Mr. Frazier this while we were on the phone once. If PEP decides to have a Mobilize page, right, and someone who's actively volunteering all the time wants to say, hey, I want to see what's going on in my community, and just put in their zip code, a PEP event will come up. And they're not looking specifically for that, but they'll just look up, see hey, what's going on in my area within a certain radius, and that will come up. So when we pulled it up, we were on Zoom, and we pulled up Mobilize at the same time. What came up for me was not the same thing that showed up for him, because he was showing up what's in Essex County, right? And I was getting everything else in Maryland. So you create that form, and it's right there. And these are people who are actively engaged in things, right? They're always looking for campaigns and organizations to help out with. And Mobilize, I think it's just great because it also automates a lot of things for you, right? So if I sign up for something, and let's say I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna sign up, but I don't know if I'm gonna go. Mobilize will harass you. It'll harass you. It'll send you an email like, don't forget, you signed up to go to this. And that's not anything that you have to do, right? It's all automated. Hey, don't forget your business. If you want to bring 2 friends, Mobilize asks, why don't you invite 2 friends? And then why not you donate $5? I know you're about to donate some of your time. Why don't you donate some money too? The amount of money the Biden campaign, for instance, raised just off of that, hey, why don't you just chip in $5? I think they raised over $1 million. Now, yeah, that's a Biden campaign. But just imagine, that's just how much more money you could raise and people that you could bring into the organization just by one form, just by signing up for Mobilize, right? And that's reaching out to all of these parents that you're not even aware of, or not aware of your organization. But things like this exist. It's Mobilize. team. Oh, and don't forget social media, right? Like, I mean, I don't know how often people are using social media, but there's so many ways between Facebook and Instagram, TikTok. I'm still trying to figure out TikTok. And I know it was Twitter is called X now, yeah, whatever it is. But there's all of those types of things that are available now that you can help you amplify your message and talk to people, right? And the last thing, I just want to hit on three. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk about more things. Platforms that help you track what's going on policy-wise, right? There are so many policies and so many like legislation and things like that are happening that those are actually banking on you not knowing, right? They're banking on you not being aware that it's even happening, that it exists. Hey, oh, I don't know what this is about, but that's what's going on. And there are so many platforms that are available for you to keep track of what's going on with legislation. Who signed up for it? Who's going to, when is it going to be up for a hearing or whatever the case is? Is it political, for instance, has something like that, where you can keep track of different types of legislation in real time and then be able to inform everyone about, like, within the community, like, hey, this legislation is about to come. We need to go do X, Y, and Z. We need to go support it. We need to go knock it down. The other aspect of it is advocacy. There are lead platforms, and GP is one of them, that if you have a group of like supporters, you can let them know that, hey, we need to write letters to our local congressman, our senator, our governor, and all that. With a click of a button or a link that you share, you can have letters sent to your elected officials within an instant, right? And again, that they're making that you're not going to know that these type of things exist, or that you're going to sit there and write an actual letter or type an email. When all of this is just done automated, like, automatically, and you can have those sent out. And so those are just ways that you can think beyond the wall, right? But that worked, that analogy worked. Just thinking beyond the wall and what you can do in terms of like using digital tools and technology in order to amplify your message. Yeah.
So I have a good question.
Yeah.
When you spoke concerning the policy, like
Yeah, so one of them is political. Political has, and a lot of government relations folks use that. And so that's their way of keeping track of like what's going on. Specifically, mostly federal, but I think you can get like a state level version too, so you can see what's happening on a state level. So there is a legislation you're like, hey, this is going to hurt our community. Then you start to be proactive about how we're going to help like knock it down or how we're going to support it. But political is one. I want to say forum is another. Yeah, but you can definitely follow up. Forum. I think it's forum as well. But I can follow up. It's another one where you can keep track of like policies. So yeah, any other questions or thoughts? Are there any other things that you're thinking about trying to do within your organization that I did not talk about that you're thinking about? Like, how do we implement digital and technology? Yeah, so automated so that way you're not having to post all the time. I have some in mind, I can't think of the name, but I do know that there's some that you can just sit there and like actually plan it out and say, okay, on tomorrow, like have a co-calendar, say tomorrow I want this to post, Tuesday I want this to post, and it'll do it, and most of them are free too. Depending on how many social media accounts that you have, but I can send that. That's a good one.
How do you use surveys? For example, like SurveyMonkey or the Google surveys and stuff. How would you use surveys to go out and figure out how you can get more people that would be interested in that?
Yeah, I would be careful with the surveys in the sense that like those are good. You want to make sure you have what's the plan after that, right?
Yes.
So like, okay, I got the survey and I have all these responses. What do I do great, but if you, like, you have to make sure you have something connected to it.
Yeah, you have to be able to collect all that data.
So the data
And then
collection.
have something else in place for what you're gonna do with that data afterwards.
Yeah. So NGP, right, so where I used to work, has something like that, where you can create an email with a form. As people are tagging, like responding to the survey, it'll automatically give each person those tags. And then you can send out specific emails based off of those tags, to those people, right? So let's say you send out an email with a form saying, what are you most interested in? Is it health and safety? Is it environmental justice? Is it education, right? So then person tags education. It gets saved in the platform. And then when you're about to do something education related, all you have to do is pull all the people that tag education and send them an email about a follow-up event or a fundraising task, but specific to what they're interested in, right? Because what you don't want to do is then send someone an email about health and safety who's not interested in that, and then they're ignoring your emails. But if someone says they want education, then they only get education. So there are those things.
So basically, you have to set a funnel, a system that will then keep recycling itself.
Yeah, so I would say NGP is one of them, where, like I said, where I used to work has something like that. There are others, but like I said, I wouldn't just create the form just to create the form, because then what are you gonna do with the data unless you're gonna manually do it or have something that's yeah, so those are like what I just wanted to kind of touch on. I'm hoping that this isn't our last conversation, right? That this is just, we're starting out. I'm a better trainer than I am, like kind of speaker in this sense. So that if we do want to do like a training on NGP, on something else, I'm so happy but I do want to like leave people. I don't want the conversation to be like, oh, it's all the technology guys, and that gets take away from the human aspect of it, right? That human aspect is still needed. Don't get me wrong, I love the tech, I love the digital stuff, but we need to support that with being able to have a conversation. So when you find out that that person's interested in education, be able to go and knock on their door, give them a call. I heard you're interested in this is what we're doing, this is why it's important to me. That's that aspect, that's what really brings me to people. So I would never say that, oh, you don't need to talk to me. I still need to talk to them, right? And also just being able to be open to it. I know that there's a lot, right? Like there's a lot you all are doing. I'm sure this might not be your full-time job. If it is your full-time job, you also have your kids, your family, all of that. And so I understand, but taking those smaller steps to embrace the technology is what really will give you more success later on, right? Any other questions or thoughts?
Like basically setting up a whole campaign and marketing and advertising. We're told it takes 3 touches to get somebody's attention. Whether it's just an email and then a phone call or a piece of direct mail, there's at least 3 touches that you need before somebody even is aware of you. How do you set up that for, like I know how to do it for somebody who, like for a drug or whatever. How do you do it for an idea like this? Like something that is an idea or a
In the same way.
In the
It's the
same
same way
way.
that like a candidate, that's an idea, right? Like the person isn't not in office yet, but they're selling you on an idea of, if I'm elected,
this
here's
is
what
what
I
I
would do, right? So that's the idea. And so it's the same thing. It's the phone call, it's the knock on the door, it's the text message. Oh, text messaging. I don't know how I forgot text messaging. Don't forget text messaging. Text messaging has become so important within this movement, right? Because again, everyone's on their phone. People will see the text message, people will read the text message, and there are plenty of platforms that do that.
I wouldn't hear to text message abruptly versus what happened. I was just sharing earlier. I had a dedicated time that I would sit and physically email, but did not want to particular. I had to down and I kind of found my children. I can't find out what the people who are zoom in and they're like, we're done. So text messages are definitely, I'm just one of them. I do not sit.
What they tell us now with technology, what she is saying exactly, it's mobile first.
Yeah.
Mobile first.
Even with your school, they do look at the online, that gets my attention right away, really versus one that is going to be
Yeah, no, I don't know why I forgot about text messaging. I'm not a text messaging, so that's probably why it's subconsciously just like playing out. But that's the thing, like there's Hustle, for instance, is a platform that's peer-to-peer text messaging. So that basically is a lot of campaigns use it, actually organizations do, like their Planned Parenthood and all of that. And what that does is there's someone actually on the other side text messaging that. So it's not a blast text message. It's someone texting you like, hey, don't forget that there's this event. Are you going to be able to come and going back and forth? That's peer to peer. And then you have your blast text message, right? So Scale to Win is another one that does blast text messaging and peer to peer. So your blast text messaging is your, hey, don't forget there's this event. You can't really respond back. There's no one on the other end. And then your peer to peer is when you're actually talking to someone. Yeah. Yeah. So Hustle and Scale to Win have those. There's another one. But those two I know are more progressively aligned, right? So that's the other thing. I am talking a lot more progressive, democratically aligned organizations. There are other ones that will work with both Republicans and Democrats and conservatives and progressive organizations. I don't know as much about those. Yeah, any other questions or thoughts?
So basically, what I'm hearing from you is you have to set up a whole campaign of how to do this. So it's a whole campaign. You can have an idea of how many segments we're going to do it. Figure out the media, so to speak, of how we're going to approach that. So we're going to send, for example, we'll send out text messages to our local people, and within that, give them some incentive to go out and forward it on to others. We could also,
And I'm putting you go that far, right? Like we could do baby steps. I don't think it should be something that's overwhelming or where you're feeling like, oh my God, this is so much time, this is so much effort, where you're not seeing that return on investment right away, right?
ROI.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be that. It can be as easy as, hey, our first call to action is we're going to set up that mobilized page, right? Because the mobilized page will automate some of that, all of that other stuff in terms of text messaging, follow-up email, and all of that will be done by mobilized. So let's start with that and see how that goes. Then let's take the next step and start text messaging, and then the next step. Now, if you all want to jump in right away, you can do that too. But I also know that can lead to some kind of burnout and overwhelm and feel like,
especially when you go to data collection and trying to do it.
Right, and you're just like, okay, what do I do now, right? So baby steps, and then let's see how that works. See if we need to tweak anything, and then add on or then update, and then add on. So I wouldn't even go into building a whole campaign just yet, but we can get there, right?
But it's just basically get started.
Let's get started. Let's build a list. Let's build a list. Let's see how many people are interested. How many people we can bring in. How many events and
we'll find out what they're interested in.
Right.
How we can talk to them.
Yep. Let's do all that, and then once we have that list, then figure out what the next step is.
Yeah.
And how do we continue to engage. But I mean, I know you all know what's at stake because we don't need to go through all that because that's why you're here, right? So we know what's at stake. There's kids like my son who need, right, that like community to support what's best for them, and there are other kids like him. And so we know what's at stake. So if we don't do this, you know what's gonna happen. We're living what's happening with that.
There's a lot that children deal with that we never do.
Yeah.
Like they can't go home to escape to it follows them. I can't relate to that.
Yep. So the social media.
It's amazing that these youngsters are able to cope with it. It's also up to us to help foster more engagement that's positive and not negative because they're so vulnerable to so much out there.
Yeah, exactly. So we know what's at stake. But I urge you all we can talk through what next steps are available to like scaling the organization and scaling just like work engagement with other parents.
I personally would like to talk to you more about how to support parents and teaching parents on how to be the advocate of their child with disabilities. Because one of the things I have done because it was so difficult, I actually had to hire lawyers to get my son's rights, because what they would do is they're taught that the school districts all we want to spend the bottom dollar. So they do the bare minimum. Where your child would you do the best? And you're fighting against a system that will keep delaying and delaying and delaying. And what ends up happening, if I didn't have the resources and the education to understand I needed an educational lawyer, what happens to those parents? You have to become an advocate to fight for all of the children in the community.
No, for sure. And I have to do the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So that was what I was like, I had to get that resource of getting an educational lawyer to help support what I want for my son, right? But also realizing that, yes, I have that resource, I go and like talk to his friends, right? His parents' friends, and be like, hey, what school is Anthony going to? Oh, they're going to place him here. I think this is the better school, and being able to have those conversations. And so, but like, and of course, you would want an organization like this and a community like this to support that. But in the event that that doesn't happen, you have to take it upon yourself to be like, hey, checking in on your other fellow.
You have to really put forth the effort, because they'll just slide through the cracks.
Oh yeah.
And then by the time they've delayed so much, it's May, we'll just table this till next year.
Right.
You've lost an entire year of a child, right, where he could have been getting that information, getting that support that he needed to grow.
Yep.
And that's disastrous.
Yeah. Oh no, for sure.
So,
And so, yeah, I did not want that. Like that had already happened for my son when going into kindergarten, and I was like, that will not happen this time around. And so he's in a program right now where it's called Learn for Independence, right? And so he's able to. They're doing certain things like they're doing cooking classes. On Thursday, they do cooking classes. And they're teaching them just very basic stuff. He's 11, right? But so it's not like like whatever, like all types of food, but like it's scrambled eggs, it's mini pizza that they do on Thursdays. And on Fridays, they do community outings where you have to send them with some money so they can go grocery shop and learn to do all of those things. And then he's being taught at his level. So while he's 11 and he's in 6th grade, he is right now at a 3rd grade level in terms of math and
I'm so excited to hear that, because I used to fight for that stuff.
yeah.
So I'm glad that that's actually being.
Yeah, so there are places where those exist. Yeah.
Because
So
I was like one of those parents, like a lot of people with children with autism and stuff, they hide their kids.
Right.
I never did that. He was going out with me. We went to restaurants and everything.
yeah.
And so just telling them, the teachers of the school, you should take them to museums, you should take them to the zoo, you should take them to a restaurant, take them to the grocery store. I had to fight for all of that, because they would have just put them in the basement and forgot about them.
Oh, yeah, no, they're going to do these outings every Friday.
That's exciting. I'm so excited to hear that.
And yeah, and like whatever the rest of the school is doing, like they have like an outdoor education, he's doing outdoor education too. He's gonna be able to go outside and like do everything and have that support. But and his friends who were in a similar class with him in 5th grade are in there because I told them, hey, this is the program. And I was telling Mr. Granger this when I had those conversations, when I finally got him into it, one of the people from the special ed central office was like, oh, so Alex is in this program. It's one of our more discreet programs. And I said,
Discreet?
Why are we hiding this from people?
These are people.
Well, not the kids, but the program itself. They don't advertise because they only want a certain number of people, a certain number of kids to have access to this. If I did not fight for this, he was going to still be in general ed with some kind of support, but then would not be learning.
Yeah, because you have too many distractions.
Right. So in any case, I think I'm at my time, but thanks y'all so much. Please, I'm happy to do this again and talk through different platforms. But thank you all so much. can share that, sure. So,
That's another thing, change the law to it, which is for the community, so please take that.
yeah, so I don't have, which is Saturday, I don't have a car, I just left NGP van at the beginning of this month. I'm gonna start another company. Actually, one thing, another technology you all should be starting to pay attention to, AI, right? Yes. And I am going to, so I'm gonna start with a startup in 2 weeks. The startup is called Fuller AI. And what Fuller helps organizations, democratic organizations, progressive organizations like this do, is to write fundraising emails. So fundraising emails are like horrible for people hate how much time it takes to write them. So Fuller will take all the information about the organization and then say, okay, well, how do you want this email to be framed? And we'll, within seconds, come up with a draft of an email that you can then send out to all of your folks to help with fundraising. And so Fuller is in beta right now. I'm employee number 2 of Fuller. But I'm going to start in a few weeks. So I don't have a car just because I'm in that transition.
How do you spell Fuller?
Quiller.
Okay, so
it's Fuller AI. But that is another thing. And everyone will be like, okay, we can just use ChatGPT, right? But ChatGPT is not built for fundraising emails. This is specific to fundraising. Yeah, you can get if you don't want it now, you can set it up for you. And it's in beta form, so we're still
being
being
tested.
Yeah, it's still being tested, but for the most part, we have a lot of campaigns. So my email is ashley.wilson33 ASHLEY.wilson33 @gmail.com. Yep. And
You're gonna get inundated. Just let you know.
And my plan was to stay for most of the day, but I am gonna try to get back to Maryland before this hurricane hits. So I'm gonna get back to Jersey City, pick up my sons, and then. But thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you guys once again for coming out to this beautiful day. It's beautiful. We don't have rain. We have that. We have to see the
We're the
beauty.
tough crowd.
We have to see the beauty in the naturalness of our creator is continuing to put this planet. And the rain obviously is needed. But thank you guys for coming. Jules Frazier, Executive Director of Paris Engaging Parents. This is who I have the opportunity to be, but more importantly, have the opportunity to continue to build community. And that's what today is about. I'll be giving a lot more information throughout the day in regards to myself, in regards to the mission and vision of Paris Engaging Parents. But as you hopefully organically are seeing on your own right, the difference of bringing organizations, parents, and community together for us to be able to build in a different way of engaging, and that's not to be solid based on the fact we focus on this, you focus on that, I focus on this. We all focus on matters. We all focus on changing the game for the communities that we come from. So I believe organizing is the tool to really put this change that we want to see in effect. So with that being with us today, we will these parents are going to be trickling in, you see, they're coming in. So I want to continue to thank you guys for really coming out today and joining us and enjoying community. What we're going to do now is we're going to now go into a little flip of what the leader is sharing as I need everybody to really continue to treat each other. So what we're going to do is now we're going to flip a little bit. What we're going to do is now we're going to go into our next session and give you the 5 minutes to go to the bathroom, maybe something of that nature. But we're going to transition into our next session. Our next session is going to be around environmental and community, and climate, and we're going to be facilitated by our environmental justice organizers, and we're going to move into the butterfly room, which is going to be down the hall right here. So we're all set up and waiting for you guys. So we're going to transition from this room, and we're all going to meet in the butterfly room. So once again, if you need to go to the bathroom, you go to this corridor and what's mid bathroom, the little bathroom is right here, and you can stay and come out. Come back in this direction.
What they gave us was that it was spoiled.
Yeah, you can't sustain that. You always do it 31 6th grade. And you know what? And the thing is, right, it was done so sweet, I didn't even pay attention.
And you be on it.
There is a picture.
But if we didn't say in their face, yeah, they knew they
And I
wouldn't
get it, because they still. They still weird. But then,
They'd establish a good spot and sweet. Well, I miss you, Nicole, like so much. Like Nicole said, we've been at the community. Certified humans, they pay for it. I will not pay attention. You would be tuition. Candace will be attending the HBC. So let's keep me because we ain't with the system.
you really go to Xavier.
Well, I'm resource schools. I had a movie.
You know, you did the HBC.
If I see the face. Just resources. Just resources. We get in April and that's it.
I can't tell you that.
It really, because Katrina, her baby's gonna do a sweet 16 reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not. She did the rest of that. That's true. I'm hoping you.
And I've moved.
Jesus takes the wheel.
Since and still keep them in their pleasures. Because you pay for it.
I paid for it, but you can't just say, Mommy, I'm gonna be a full graduate before that exam. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna see you up in the days. I'm so happy. I'm like,
Yeah, she's 16 and 17. She goes to school well, she took me to the she's ready to go.
So that's bad.
You said this for you.
Life goes on, little babies. And I learned to listen to the kid. Because sometimes I put up a facade of being there.
And back then, we had more community teachers, meaning they cared on the because they came from the same community.
Okay.
They cared differently.
Kids,
Okay, cool. Well, very good. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. We need new face masks.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
They've been taking the same since.
There's so much against that. You better start getting it. You get and I
yeah, I did the one booster added, the moving forward, the new council starting to and my car.
so many people are having issues.
All kind of stuff.
All sorts of stuff, so you gotta be very
It's scary.
because it hasn't been fully vetted. There's no way they could have fully vetted it. We became there for an experiment. I didn't appreciate it.
Expeditiously.
Seriously, there was no reason for
It's
everyone to
good,
take
guys.
things like that.
Reading glasses. I'm so complaining because nobody knows this man. Yeah. Like, your kids? They're free. So guess what? I don't have a car today, so I go home. Freedom. Baby, listen. Thank you. To make sure